Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.
In a world where everyone says hello,
they dare to say, yeah,
g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, g'day. Yes, good day. Yeah,
G'day.
G'day. Yeah, g'day. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, good day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
good day.
G'day. Hey, yeah, g'day. Yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Again,
Good day, everyone.
konnichiwa,
Oh,
everyone.
Okay. Well, let's not tell everyone what we're doing in our personal lives, you know? Yeah. Hi, welcome to Yeah G'day, the Australian podcast, the complete guide to Australia.
Every single thing is in this guide.
If you find another
It's
guide,
complete.
it's incomplete.
Yes.
You've been listening to Yeah Good Day, the incomplete guide to Australia. Incorrect.
Yeah.
Turn over to Yeah G'day.
Which you're on now.
Yeah.
Don't turn over
No,
now.
don't turn over. Yeah, sorry.
You're on it now.
And
If you are on Yeah Good Day at a later time, turn over.
And their hosts, Lim and Tion.
Yeah. Tion's particularly funny, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I was as funny as Tion. Tim.
Yes. Good day.
This has got to be hands down our best intro of all time.
Absolutely.
Tim, I have been thinking, as I am wont to do, and in those thoughts, I have been pondering the wildlife in Australia.
Yep. There's wildlife here.
There's a lot of wildlife, and a lot of it is native, meaning ours,
Yeah. Belonging to us.
belonging to us, and it doesn't appear anywhere else, which is exciting.
It is. It is exciting.
Some of our animals, how you say, slow,
Some of them are slow.
and how you
Yes.
say lazy.
Yes.
And one of the ones in particular that's slow and lazy is also quite cute, and a lot of people are really into it. Looks fluffy, it's little.
Yes, this
it's
is true.
Mistakenly referred to as a certain other kind of animal.
It is.
Tim,
Yes.
I'm talking about the koala.
The koala.
Yes, as it's pronounced in Latin.
Yes.
Meaning small
Which is a dead
marsupial.
language, so...
You can't look it up. The koala, Tim, the grey, furry, non-bear
Non-bear indeed.
that the world has grown to love.
Yes, the koala. Well, yes, it is a creature. It does live. The scientific name for the koala, I'm going to try and pronounce
Oh,
it.
here we go.
Phascolarctos cinereus, or inaccurately in Latin, the cinereus part means bear. The first part means something else. I can't remember what it means. But they mistakenly thought that it was some kind of bear when they first got... The Europeans.
Even the Latins have been getting it wrong.
The indigenous Australians didn't think it was a bear.
No.
Because we didn't have bears here. So they probably, number one, didn't know what a bear was. And number two, they weren't as stupid as the Europeans who were just like, oh yeah, that looks like a bear. It must be a bear.
Yeah, must be a bear.
Yeah.
Smells like a bear, tastes like a bear, must be a bear.
Yeah. It's a duck.
It is a duck. It's. I think a lot of this episode is going to be us repeating that it's not a bear.
It's definitely not a bear. It is a... If you want to use the Wikipedia fancy word definition, it's an arboreal
Herbivorous.
Let me start again. Arboreal herbivorous marsupial native to Australia.
What was the first part?
Arboreal.
That
It
means
it's
tree.
Tree dwelling, yeah.
That means it cuts down trees. And
Yeah. It is a tree. Yes. No,
Yeah.
it means that it's tree dwelling, which is very true. They spend pretty much all of their time in trees because they spend pretty much all of their time asleep.
Yes, or eating.
Which we will get into. Let's talk about the koala.
Koala.
Like a lot of the native fauna, that means animals, of Australia.
Full of science this episode.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's one of like the last living relatives of the Phascolarctos. That was definitely not pronounced correctly. Genus,
Right.
species.
Yes.
Its closest living relative is the wombat.
Oh.
But I don't think they're even really that close. Like,
If you turned a wombat on its on its end and stuck it in a tree, you
It
could
would
mistake
be
it for a koala.
It would be similar-ish.
It would also be very frightened.
yeah. Yes, it would not know what's
Send
going on.
help.
It's found mostly in the coastal areas of the mainland, particularly in the eastern and southern regions. You don't really get it in the west or the extreme north. So it's in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and South Australia. And they don't have koalas in Tasmania.
Oh, well, koalas, they're not the best swimmers.
But they did have their own special animals that we will one day cover down there in the Tas.
Have you seen one in the Wilday? The Oscar Wilde?
Koala?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. I grew up sort of in the bush.
Yeah, whatever. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Have you?
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
I would hazard a guess that I've seen at least one in the wild.
Yeah, it's not that exciting.
No, I've seen a lot in the zoo, and there was that video going around Facebook recently of the two koalas fighting in the middle of the road in like Adelaide or Mount Gambier.
Oh yeah,
or
they're pretty funny
South
when they
Australia
fight.
somewhere.
They're very territorial. We'll talk about that as well. When you see them in the wild, it's usually, oh shoot, look, there's a koala way up there, like super far up in that eucalyptus tree that I can just see nestled between two big branches, and it's asleep.
Is
and
it
you can
dead?
barely
Is
see
it
it,
alive?
but you can see it just enough to know that it's there. That's usually how you see koalas. It's not a particularly exciting thing to see. They typically inhabit eucalypt woodlands, or
Yes.
the bush, as we like to call it out here.
Yes, the bush.
And it's eucalypt leaves that make up the majority of their diet, which is not actually that good for them.
No, isn't it like toxic for them?
Yeah, look, eucalypts are extremely toxic, not particularly nutritionally or calorically.
That sounds like
They don't have much
choleric.
nutrition or calories in them, which means they pretty much sleep all the time.
Yep.
It's a weird animal that,
And they also
this is where they've ended up. All they can eat is eucalypts, but it's like the one thing that's like the worst thing for them to eat.
I feel like they were like roaming around like prehistoric Australia, and I think there are megafauna koalas as well.
Yeah.
But they were just roaming around, and all the other animals took everything else, and it was like, you guys get the eucalyptus, and they're like, oh yeah, what's in that? And it's like eucalyptus oil.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Pretty much, yeah. It kind of tastes like something you would put into a bottle and then put a label on the bottle that says poisonous.
Yeah.
That's the
And
kind of taste.
it's the kind
they're
of thing that
dealing
you
with.
like. Obviously, koalas are the healthiest animals in terms of respiratory conditions. They'd never get a cold because they've always got a eucalyptus drop in their mouth.
Absolutely.
but
They
due
must
to-
have the fucking nicest throats.
The best singing voices. Have you heard a koala sing?
No, but they do bellow.
They do.
They do bellow.
But the low calorie and nutritional benefits of the eucalyptus also means that they are just constantly eating.
Yeah.
Like they constantly eat and constantly sleep because they're
It's-
like, I just need
It's
enough.
one or the other. That's it. Like, it's eat or sleep. Occasionally, like maybe once a year, they'll have a fight with another koala, and that's about it.
Yet they're still fat. Like,
Yeah.
how are you fat?
It's because they don't do anything but eat and sleep.
But to get fat, they would have to eat so many
They
eucalyptus
do
leaves.
eat a lot. They move trees like maybe once.
They pick
Once
the
a
tree
day.
up and
Yeah.
carry it.
Yeah,
to a
they
different
move.
part.
No, they go from it to a different
It's like
tree.
tiny
about
houses.
once a day.
The tree.
Anyway,
Yes.
let's keep learning about these bad boys. Okay, so they're a stocky animal. They're stocky.
Hearty.
They got a large head and vestigial or non-existent tail. They don't really have a tail. Body length 60 to 85 centimeters. That's 24 to 33 inches, and a weight of 4 to 15 kilos. That's 9 to 33 pounds, making it amongst the largest arboreal marsupials. I don't know arboreal. I don't know any other arboreal marsupials. What other arboreal marsupials
Well,
are
like tree living marsupials, possums.
there? Possums, true.
Upside down wombats.
Numbats?
Numbats? I thought numbats were on the ground.
No, there's one of them that lives up
Sugar
there.
gliders?
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yeah. So
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm
because
with
like
you.
80 centimeters, like it's nearly a meter of koala. That's a tall koala.
Yeah. Here's something fun. Koalas in Victoria are actually twice as large as the koalas in Queensland.
Well, you know what they say about Victorian koalas?
Mm.
They're twice as large as the ones in Queensland.
That's exactly what they say. That's what I say. Just then.
It's like the hairy nose, non-hairy nose wombat
Yeah.
argument all over again.
And then on top of that, this species is actually sexually dimorphic. That means that the males are 50% larger than the females.
Oh, that's like only a thing that's kind of common in like humans and like gorillas and thing, I think.
Yeah. Oh no, in a lot of species, one of the genders will be bigger.
Yeah, but I mean,
But often
usually
it's
it's
the
female.
female,
Yeah, that's
actually,
what I
yeah.
mean. Like that's the different part.
How else? How else can you tell males apart from the females. Males have more curved noses, which I don't know if I would be able to recognize that, to be honest. The presence of chest glands, which they use to mark territory. They're usually hairless patches, which is kind of gross. The male has a bifurcated penis.
So do I.
I think that means it's
covered in fur or no fur.
I think it's a double. I think it's a double prong.
Oh,
because then that matches up. The female has 2 lateral vaginas
Jesus,
and 2 separate uteri.
Well,
So
if you're gonna have 2 vaginas, you got to have 2 penises.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know. What I'm thinking about what's worse for koala dicks, hairy or not?
I don't know. I think we'd have to ask the female koalas what their preference is, whether they like it shaved or.
Because I feel like I'd freak out if there was this koala covered in hair and then just this.
It looks bigger.
nude.
It looks bigger if you shave it, but like, who's got the time?
Do you know how I tell a male koala from a female koala?
The dick? I don't know.
I asked for its preferred pronoun. Why can't
Oh
it just
yeah.
be,
Well, obviously
just go up and
it's
ask.
2018, isn't it?
Right, double dick, double vag, double uteri.
Yeah. The rest of the description of their genitalia is a little too gross for me to read out, so I'm not going to go into it.
Everyone get into your koala porn at a later date.
So they give birth, they're marsupials, which means they give birth to undeveloped youngs into their pouches.
Yep.
Where they stay for the first 6 to 7 months of their lives. These young koalas, also known as joeys. Joeys is pretty common on marsupials. It's pretty much just a universal term for a young marsupial animal. Fully weaned around about a year old. Koalas don't have many natural predators or parasites, but they are threatened by a variety of different diseases and pathogens. They have a real problem with chlamydia.
They have lots of chlamydia.
Yeah, and they also have koala retrovirus, also known as koala AIDS. They have severe issues with sexually transmitted diseases for some reason.
The bad thing about the koala AIDS, aside from the fact that the koalas have AIDS, is it's called kids.
Yeah.
Like that's it's a horrible disease. And they're
It's
kids.
Yeah, it's not good.
They have lots of chlamydia.
Yeah, so much chlamydia. It's a massive issue.
More than you could poke a stick.
Yeah. I think they did. I don't know why I'm bringing this up because I don't have any facts to back it up, but I think there was like something they were doing. They were almost on the verge of finding a way to help the chlamydia problem. It's not important.
Possibly.
Look it up in your own time.
I guess the reason they've got so much chlamydia is they've got double the sexual organs.
Yeah.
So it just doubles the chlamydia.
Twice the penis and vagina, twice the chlamydia, yeah. So obviously also they're threatened particularly by bushfires and droughts, which are very common in Australia, especially in the areas that they are in, and human habitation in general, up and down their forests.
But like the bushfires and stuff, they don't run away. Like they just stay in the tree.
Yeah.
They don't. If they're on fire, they're just like
they're not very good at getting out of the way.
Tell you what, eucalyptus oil, it's pretty flammable. So a koala is just going to go.
Those trees go up like fucking crazy.
But like a koala is just full of it.
Yeah.
So a koala is just going to.
You know what's crazy
light.
that I learned is that eucalyptus forests actually need fires to happen.
Yes.
Because it helps open the seed pods that they drop, and it
Yes.
helps the bushes to regenerate and new eucalypts to come through, etc., etc. Yeah, but the problem is the koalas are so lazy they don't get out of the fucking way when the fire happens.
Koalas
so
need fire as well. It opens up the bilateral
Yeah,
vagina.
yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot of one day we'll get into the plant world of Australia, but a lot of Australian plants like that. They need the bushfire. Like I think the Banksia is another one of those. Like where you see the big pods that are open when they're kind of on the ground.
Yeah.
So because Australia is just the most ridiculous country in the world, we need fire to survive.
We need destruction to create. Ooh,
if you set me on
what's that
fire,
metaphor?
I become 10 times stronger.
Yeah. The pelage, which I believe is the fur of the koala, is thicker and longer on the back, shorter on the belly.
Yep.
Ears have a thick fur on both the inside and the outside.
Yes.
They can't hear very well.
No.
Back fur color variety varies from a light grey to chocolate brown. I have seen... When I see brown koalas, though, I'm always like, is there something wrong with that photo?
Yeah.
Because I've never seen one in real life.
Yeah.
I only ever see them in photos, and I'm always like, is the color off in that photo?
Surely
or
the
something?
brown
Like, what's
ones
wrong with
are
that?
less common in general. Because
It's not brown. It's like a weird grey brown.
Yeah, but like a grey koala is the staple.
Yeah, that's the one that we all know. Belly fur is whitish. On the rump, it is a dappled whitish.
No,
Dappled and darker at the back. Has the most effective insulating back fur of any marsupial and is highly resilient to wind and rain. It has to be. It's up there in the trees. That's where it's windiest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's most windy and most rainy.
And koalas' curved, sharp claws, well, adapted to climbing trees, of course. Their forepaws, here's something weird.
Do you mean their front paws or all of their paws?
Front paws.
Right, because they have
Four
paws.
as in F-O-R-E, not four, the number. They actually have 2 thumbs, essentially.
Why do they have double everything?
The thing is, they have 2 thumbs on the front, but then they're missing a toe on the back paws.
Oh.
It's really weird, right?
They evolved being like, we don't need these back ones anymore.
It's very strange. Here's something even kind of a little bit weirder. Koala has one of the smallest brains in proportion to body weight of any mammal.
Well, it's got nothing to fuel it.
It's 60% smaller than that of a typical animal around its sort of weight ratio.
Well, it's not getting any omega-3. It's not getting any,
It
fish
eats
oil.
literally just toxic leaves constantly.
Just
And
eats poison.
its brain surface. So our brains are wrinkly, right?
Yeah.
But its brain surface is really smooth, which is just typical of a primitive animal. Because the thing is that about Australia is, in terms of like continental drift and all that sort of nonsense, Australia was removed from the great massive land quite early on. So animals are very of this area. Like there's nothing like them, and they only really survived in this area on their own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've been on our we weren't.
We've been
sharing.
isolated for so long. Yeah. So a lot of our animals, in terms of their physiology and their biology, they're actually quite primitive.
Like, look at the possum in Australia compared to the possums in America. They're so different. It's
very, very, very interesting. Koalas are very asocial.
What does that mean?
It means they pretty much just stick to themselves.
Oh.
Like me.
I was going to say, like you.
Yeah, like me.
And me.
They have their own little home ranges. They're usually kind of divided into residents and transients. So some koalas, mostly females, will take up particular residencies and they'll stay in that particular area and be visited by males going through their various
just
areas.
Passing by.
But occasionally one of the bigger males, once they get big enough to start to be able to defend their own territory, will take up its own territory, and it'll sometimes go out of that territory looking for mates. But
I've heard that it'll
stay there until it's challenged.
I don't know if you have the exact measurements, but when I was at I can't remember the name of the place. It's the wildlife sanctuary down here, Healesville.
Yeah,
I was
right.
at Healesville. They were talking about the koalas, and they were saying one koala needs it was a football field or 50 football fields or something worth of space.
Yeah, you hear that about a lot of animals, and a koala is a particularly good example of it, where it's why?
Yeah, what do you need all that
It
space
stays in
for?
one tree. It sleeps for 20 hours a day on average.
That's why they bellow. They just yell across 54 of going, hey, this is my tree.
Yeah. Well, that's how number one, they find mates, but also they tell everyone to fuck off or out of their area, is they bellow. And they bellow loud, and it is a haunting sound.
You know when you wake up every morning, open the window and just go, fuck off, this
Yeah.
is my house.
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing scarier than that I've ever heard is possums fighting.
Yeah.
Which is just
Very,
very, very scary.
guttural.
Yeah, very, very. Which is only just underneath possums having sex, which is even worse.
There's more noise.
Yeah.
They need all this room, and it's what are you doing? And also, then I'm looking at the zoo, and I'm like, those koalas are very close to each other.
Yeah.
They must be very upset.
They wake up and just yell in each other's faces. Fuck off out of here.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's fun. They were hunted by Indigenous Australians, obviously for their meat and their
pelts.
In the early days of this great land, and they're depicted in myths and cave art for millennia. The first recorded encounter between a European and a koala, though, was in 1798, and an image of the animal was published in 1810 by naturalist George Perry. Botanist Robert Brown wrote the first detailed scientific description of the koala in 1814, although his work wasn't published for around 180 years, so what was the point? Popular artist John Gould illustrated and described the koala, introducing the species to the general British public. The general British public. Further details about the animal's biology were revealed in the 19th century by several English scientists. And obviously, because of its distinctive appearance, there's nothing that really looks like the koala anywhere in the world.
Nope.
Recognised worldwide as a symbol of Australia.
Bless its furry, double penis.
Yeah. Or shaved, whatever it's got time for.
I'm not here to yuck any yums. It's whatever its preference is.
Yeah. That's koalas. That's the scientific brass tacks of it all.
Oh, they're brass tacks. They've got 4 brass. How many testicles do they have?
I don't know. Like I said, the stuff about their genitalia was very in depth and got very disgusting very quickly. I got to the double vagina part and I was like, that's probably enough for the podcast.
That's far too many to handle.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's any if there's anything in this this here book that I read from last time about
Australiapedia
about the koala, but there's not really. Basically says what we said. Lots of stuff about the fact that it has chlamydia and other sexually transmitted diseases.
Yeah.
It does say here that humans are extremely fond of koalas, perhaps because we increasingly share their pudgy appearance and have a similar approach to our diet, as both humans and koalas tend to consume food that is both low in nutrients and highly toxic, greatly restricting our physical movement as a result.
And then we go to sleep straight after, or
We
at least
do.
I like to sometimes.
And I've got 2 penises.
Sometimes I do that for a treat. Do you ever do that? You eat a lot and then you go to sleep? Like that's a treat?
That's kind of how I do every night. I eat and then I go to sleep.
Yeah, I do it as a treat.
I have 2 penises and 2 vaginas. I'm a double koala. Tim, I want to talk to you about famous koalas.
Oh, yeah?
Now, obviously, you've got Blinky Bill.
Blinky. We've mentioned Blinky on the show before.
Other famous koalas include Nutsy, the koala, also
Nutsy,
from Blinky
Blinky's,
Bill.
not sister. He was like his girlfriend, right?
You've got other famous koalas from a wide variety, like Mr. and Mrs. Koala, also from Blinky Bill.
Yep.
No,
Most of them are from Blinky Bill.
I was actually surprised. I found more. And I'm going to leave Blinky talking about Blinky till the end. The Magic Pudding. The story.
That's like Enid.
Who wrote
the
that?
Magic Pudding is like
Norman
old
Lindsay.
story. Yeah.
Norman Lindsay. Supposedly, I didn't know this. I assumed I've never seen the Magic Pudding or read it. Now, I assumed that the Magic Pudding was about the pudding itself, but it's actually about Bunyip Bluegum, the koala, who sets out on his travels wanting to see the world. What does he take with him, Tim? Just a walking stick. That's all he takes.
Oh.
Just a walking stick.
I thought he was going to take the pudding with him.
No, I think he meets the pudding at one point.
The pudding is a character, though. It's like an anthropomorphic character, though, right?
Yeah, there's...
I think I've seen the...
2 of the characters seem to be eating a pudding, and the pudding is the magic one, which no matter how much one eats, it always reforms into a whole pudding again.
Yeah, right.
His name is Albert.
I would like to have that pudding.
Yeah, it's a pretty whack story. There's also koalas called Tinga and Tucker.
Tinga rings a bell. What's Tinga from?
Tingha. Well, Tinga and Tucker were children's television characters on Britain's ATV network from 1962 until 1970.
No, I think there's a town called Tinga as well. Maybe that's where I'm remembering it.
They were... Oh, that sounds a bit... Oh, no, that's originally they were just stuffed toy koalas belonging to the host who made them speak on air. Wowzers. I don't think they were puppets. I think he was just holding the toys being like, hello, Tinga. Hello, Tucker.
It wasn't even really a TV show. It's just him going crazy at home.
Yeah, thinking he was on TV.
It, yeah.
But soon the puppets were made into characters, and they made them more lifelike and stuff like that. At the height of its time, the Tinga and Tucker Club had 750,000 members.
Gee whiz.
But the club had to close when it became unable to handle the volume of mail it generated. And one of the favourite show songs was The Wibbly Wobbly Way.
Wibbly Wobbly Way. So they got so much mail, they were just like, nah, fuck it, I can't be bothered with this.
What I love about children's shows, and we'll find this out when we get to Blinky Bill as well, is the alliteration that they use for just everything. They had Tinga and Tucker the koalas, that's not alliteration, but they had Willy Wombat, Grandpa Wombat, Kiki Kangaroo, Katie Kookaburra, Ermintrude Emu, which Ermintrude itself is the greatest name.
I've never heard that name in my life, but I'm going to name my firstborn daughter Ermintrude. Wait, is Ermintrude a guy or a girl's name?
I don't know. Ermintrude.
Fuck it, my daughter's getting it.
I would say it would be daughter because of the trude part.
Yeah, it's feminine with the trude. Trude is a feminine sound.
Is that where trude comes from? Then they had Postman Pete Murray, who was their DJ.
Pete Murray?
It was Pete
Murray. Pete Murray was on the show. That's awesome.
Wait, they had Uncle Cliff Richard. Was it actual Cliff Richard? Sorry, I just need to
Wait,
turn...
does this show just have a bunch of animals and then Pete Murray and Cliff Richard are
Well,
on
it's
the
not
show?
that Pete. Oh my God, it was actual Cliff Richard.
Oh, wow.
Like British pop star. Sir Cliff Richard, if you will. That's
will.
ridiculous.
That's crazy.
So that was Tinger and Tucker. Now, I did come across an interesting game that was made in 1997. And the reason that I picked it up is because I just really love the wordplay. It's called Koala Lumpur Journey to the Edge.
Right.
It is a game that centers around a Zen master koala named Koala Lumpur and his friend, a dingo named Mr. Dingo Too Far.
Dingo Too Far.
Which sounds a little racy to me.
What do you go far in?
In their,
He always takes things a bit too far. You know, he takes the joke a bit too far.
In-
like I'm doing now.
In their quest to prevent the apocalypse caused by Kuala Lumpur's mistaken utterance of a mystic incantation.
Oh, what was he doing?
To perform this feat, Koala and Dr. Dingo must collect pieces of the lost
Wait,
scroll.
he's a doctor?
Yeah, I told you, Dr. Dingo Too Far. He's got his PhD in too farness.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he an MD or is he a doctor of philosophy? What's happening?
There are 4 stages to this game, Tim. Search for Dr. Dingo, Land of Lost Things, Stream of Consciousness, and Eye in the Sky.
Oh.
I kind of want to play this game.
It's kind of like a physical location and a mental location all at the same time.
Yes.
What an
and
exciting game that sounds like.
one of the most well-known koalas that we have to offer is the Caramello koala.
Oh, Caramel. What's his name? Does he have a name?
He does. His name is George.
Oh, that's,
Suppose-
that's actually a bit disappointing, to be honest.
So Caramello koala, as we know, is a chocolate shaped like a koala. It's got a caramel inside. They're actually delicious.
They're amazing.
It-
and I
it's-
don't know how other countries don't have them.
It's
I
a
never know what they
matching
are.
pair. You have Caramello koalas and Freddo frogs.
Yeah.
Like, you have them both. The chocolate bar is sold in 2 sizes. The more common 20-gram size, but then there's the giant 40-gram size usually sold for fundraisers.
Yeah.
Like when you get the giant Freddos and the giant... I don't really like normal size Caramello and normal size Freddos, but the giant ones, I will buy you out of Freddo frogs.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
There was always that... And I was usually this kid who'd be raising money for something, some kind of club. And yeah, you'd buy chocolates off them, and it'd be Freddo frogs and Caramello koalas primarily. So good.
The Caramello koala was also sold in South Africa. But it was first introduced in Australia in 1966 as the Caramello bear.
It's not a bear.
Exactly.
For God's sake.
And then there was obviously that the hit where they did the modified version of the Mellow Yellow, where it was "They call me Caramel."
Yeah. I remember the ad campaign. Right. And he's like laying on his back in some kind of weird little boat as it goes down the stream.
I think it's a Caramello stream.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
In 2003, the Australian Labor Party MP Mark Latham was labelled a Caramello koala by Liberal Christopher Pyne for allegedly being soft in the centre. Australian politics, ladies and gentlemen.
Both of those people are idiots.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to put it to you that dickhead over there is a Caramello koala.
Yeah,
well,
honestly,
you're a dingo.
If you want to have a good time, watch Australian Question Time or anything from Australian Parliament. These people are fucking idiots. They're turkeys.
They're
Caramello koalas is what they are.
Bunch of Caramello koalas,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
No, it's just hilarious.
So,
How ridiculous they are.
Blinky Bill, Tim.
Yeah.
The most famous koala, I think.
Oh, Mr. Blinky Bill.
Mr. Blinky Bill.
Yeah.
Blinky Bill was first published in 1933 by Angus and Robertson. Now, I read that and thought, do you mean the bookshop? But it turns out, I guess they were people that published books.
Right.
And it was based on stories told to her only child. I don't know whose only child, Angus or Robertson's. Peter. The first book was 69 pages long, 15 pages of illustrations. Now, that was 1933. We go from there to 1934 with Blinky Bill Grows Up. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the racier novel that was Blinky Bill and Nutsy, Two Little Australians.
Oh, all right.
And that was in 1937. The Complete Adventures of Blinky Bill was first published in 1939 and was reprinted 26 times between 1940 and 1965.
There you go.
Now, someone called Wall, I think maybe Wall was the writer? Dorothy Wall. Sorry, Dorothy Wall is the writer, not Angus and or Robertson. Dorothy Wall drew illustrations of Blinky Bill for comic strips in 1937 she had Blinky Bill's Escapades, which told the story of Blinky, Nutsy, and Splodge as they left Australia for the coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, right.
Which is an amazing story that I must
Splodge is
read.
the platypus, yeah?
I'll get to the characters in a second,
Yeah, okay.
mate. I don't want to
No,
ruin
we've talked
their
about
wonderful
Splodge on the
names.
show before.
Yeah, we did. We did the platypus episode. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff with the books and dress up books and things like that. But obviously, for you and I, like I've never seen the book. I think I've seen it, but I've never read it.
Similar to Disney, these original illustrations, like Winnie the Pooh, the original illustrations and characters are quite different to what came later.
Yeah. So the thing that we all grew up with was actually the second version of Blinky Bill, because Blinky Bill started
Second gen, yeah.
in the 1980s on the ABC, and it was a live version with puppets, and it was called The New Adventures of Blinky Bill.
Oh, wow. I never saw that.
I've seen bits of it. I've seen clips of it. I think I could probably find some on YouTube. It is not good.
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty terrible.
It's quite bad.
Yeah.
So that was then, and there was an animated movie called Blinky Bill the Mischievous Koala.
Mm-hmm.
That was in 92. But what we know Blinky Bill from is 1993. The second children's TV series on the ABC was called The Adventures of Blinky Bill.
Yeah.
It was cartoon, Blinky Bill. I don't know how long it ran for. It doesn't say how long it ran for.
He was a very Dennis the Menace
He was a
sort
right
of
dickhead.
character, yeah.
He was a...
but he had a heart of gold.
I was going to say, sorry, in Australia we call right dickheads larrikins.
Yeah.
So it has a more endearing
Larrikin's
term.
a nice way to say asshole, yeah.
Now, aside from that, there are some interesting facts here. I will get to the characters in a second, but there's some interesting facts here. So Blinky Bill is the nickname of the light at the top of the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The blinking light to stop from planes hitting it and stuff like that.
Right.
In 1993, the Australian Republican movement used the character as a symbol in the referendum the following year. What referendum? I don't know. Against Mark Latham's soft centre? Possibly. Who knows? Or Christopher Fine, whoever it was.
What year was it?
1993. So those boys weren't really
I don't
playing
even know
then.
what the referendum was.
And then there's the new Blinky Bill CGI film. Blinky Bill the movie was released in 2015.
Yeah, I didn't
and
even
there's now,
see it.
Yeah, there's a TV series now, The Wild Adventures of Blinky Bill. It's on Channel 7. It doesn't look good. I
His
don't like it.
voice is different. He looks different. The old Blinky Bill used to talk like this all the time.
Everyone does their own Blinky Bill.
Yeah.
Good on you, Blinky.
Yeah.
Because the theme song says
Which
that.
my voice is obvious. His was much higher, but that's the cadence. And Toad, always talked, and every single character talked like that.
I was going to say, that wasn't just Blinky, that was everyone on
My
the show.
voice was probably closer to the what was
kangaroo.
the kangaroo's name?
I
He
will
had a
tell you.
deeper voice. Yeah.
Let me just find that page. So,
But what are we gonna do, Blinky?
oh, come on, Blinky. Blinky Bill. Blinky had more of a stuffed nose. He was more like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Like, have nothing to say. The Blinky Bill. Wombo, you dickhead. So there was.
He used to spray paint dicks on Wombo's garage
Blinky Bill
door and
swore a
stuff.
lot in that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So you got Blinky. You got Nutsy, which is just the greatest name for a koala.
It's so of its time in that it's like it's such an innocent. It's like, well, you know, they live in eucalyptus trees, eucalyptus nuts. We'll call it Nutsy. But now it's like, yeah, right, Nutsy. Yeah,
Wait a
cool.
second. Nutsy's story gets deep.
Yeah, weren't her parents killed or something?
I don't know. Maybe because she's introduced as Blinky's friend, but at the end of series 1, she becomes Blinky's sister.
Yeah.
Which all the making out they do at the beginning of season 1 makes it really weird.
Yeah. Well, it'd be in style on a lot of porn websites now, but watch out.
There you go.
No, I'm pretty sure there was a storyline there where she's adopted or she's an orphan
Yeah, she's
because
an
her
orphan.
parents were killed because of deforestation. Yeah.
So yeah, then you got Flaps the platypus, which they have a very good description of him here. That he's very flap. Sorry, it's just flap, no plural.
Following up Nutsy with
Nutsy and Flap. They say he's got a speech impediment like Daffy
who's
Duck.
Splodge then?
Splodge is a kangaroo.
Ah.
And Flap the platypus hates being called a duck. Accurate.
Yeah.
Just like koalas aren't bad. So you got Splodge the kangaroo, Marsha marsupial mouse, which is
Yeah, I
a
remember
mouthful.
Marsha. She's tiny.
Shifty the dingo.
Fuck it, we're not giving him a name. Just let's tell people what he is. Shifty.
He's the youngest in his family, and he was once enemies with Blinky and his friends, but is eventually accepted after finding Nutsy's father.
There's
He
the
finds
family.
Nutsy's father.
There's the family of dingoes. Remember that? And what they all wear like
they wear like
real
Cockney,
no, they wear like 80s like the girl, the sister, whatever old mate's sister's name is. She wears like what Kylie Minogue would wear in like an 80s
does she?
music video, like
Oh,
this
man.
pink outfit. It's very funny,
Yeah,
actually.
You've got Mr. Walter Wombat, also called Wombo, which I'm sure he loved being called.
Don't
Miss
call me
Magpie,
Wombo.
Mrs. Koala, Mr. Koala, Mr. Platypus, Mrs. Platypus, Platypus,
Platypus.
Mayor Penguin, Mrs. Rabbit,
Mayor Penguin.
Mr. Rabbit.
Mayor Penguin wasn't born in the bush. He migrated there.
I think I'll take this as my favourite one from the names. Better than Nutsy, better than Flap. Granny Grunty Koala.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They do grunt.
An elderly koala who is hard of hearing. She wears glasses and wears old clothes like Wombo.
Ah.
Danny Dingo, Meatball Dingo, Daisy Dingo, Ma Dingo, Mr.
Daisy,
Emu,
that's the one.
Ms. Echidna,
Ms. She had a husband, but it didn't work out.
Jacko, the
She killed
kookaburra,
him.
Nurse Angelina, who's a wallaby nurse, Mr. Kangaroo, Ms. Kangaroo,
This is a really large
Mr.
community.
Marsupial Mouse, Ms. Marsupial Mouse, Ms. Spotty, who's a frog, Ruff, a frill-neck lizard, Mr. Gloop, a bush turkey, Dr. Spoonbill,
Yeah.
got a PhD in spoonbill,
Dr. Spoonbill.
Ms. Glennis Pym, who is Human Lady. I don't remember her. Oh yeah, they steal stuff from the shop, don't they?
I don't remember.
She's not particularly fond of koalas because who wants koalas coming into their shop?
Yeah, they keep stealing shit. She's trying to run a business.
Also,
She's trying to earn money for her family, and these fucking koalas keep coming in and taking things. It's not acceptable. I don't
you've
care
got a
if
responsibility.
You're I don't care if you're a talking koala. You respect people's right to earn a livelihood. You know
The
what I'm
best
saying?
thing is the end of her thing says she has a pet budgie named Cedric,
Right.
which is fine. The last character listed is Cedric, Ms. Pym's snooty budgie, who refers to her as Big Nose. There are new characters that appeared in Blinky Bill, like the Adventures of Blinky Bill.
No.
But which I think the Adventures of Blinky Bill that was the one that we watched, I think. Anyway, but that's the list. It was a very long list, but I had to get through it because I thought they were all very good.
There's a lot of funny. It's quite a large cast for a
Big cast. Yeah, we had to get a lot of koalas, which is
Yeah.
hard to get a lot of koalas into a tight space together.
There's not that many koala actors, so they actually had they did a lot of training with just regular
Wombats.
koalas. Brought them in. They brought in some of the more senior koala actors to kind of teach them the basic foundations of acting.
Yeah.
Run them through the Meisner technique and all that sort of stuff. So
If you actually see a koala on film, it's probably two wombats taped together and, on their side.
what do you do if you need a horse? We just usually take a bunch of cats together.
Wonderful. Koalas, how good are they, Tim?
Good.
Pretty good. Good
About as-
Australian animal.
About as good as this. We've paused long enough.
We have paused. That was the weirdest Harold Holt.
No, I was like, I'm fucking, I'm going
That's
for it.
Sorry. Before that, usually I would say, the Harold Holt watch. But obviously that's been taken away from me, just like
No,
everything else.
It's anarchy. It's a new year. New year, new me.
Well, Tim, I guess
This
if you're...
version of me is not a good version.
I guess if you're directing everything now, what have you got, mate?
I've got a letter.
Oh.
An E-letter.
The letter is E?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm going to read this out to you. Dear Tim and Leon, my name is Makoto. I am from Tokyo and I love listening to your show. Yeah, g'day.
We've found them.
Yes. Finally, somebody from our Japanese listener base writes in. I visited Australia recently, and while I was there is when while I was there is when I started to listen to your show. I heard you talk about Harold Holt.
Yes.
And I did not know who that was, so I looked it up and read about him on the internet. It is very sad what happened. When I was at Australia's zoo in my visit, though, I had a picture taken with a koala. At the zoo, you have to go to the shop to pick up your photos, and they show you the photos on a screen of all the people who have had photos so you can see before you buy them. One photo I saw was a photo of Harold Holt with a koala. I know it was him because I just saw his photo on the internet that day before. I think he must have been at the zoo when I was. I hope you can come to Japan soon. Makoto.
Oh, thank you, Makoto.
Yeah.
Look, the letter, whoever wrote the letter, Makoto wrote the letter,
Makoto.
wasn't well written. Good on you, Makoto.
Are you dissing his English? What do you mean?
No. I feel if a native English speaker had written that, I'd be worried for their writing abilities. But they didn't, because it was.
Maybe the native English speaker was, pretending to be somebody who didn't have native English. Whoever wrote it,
maybe the native
is
English
very
speaker
good.
Was inside of us all along.
is very good at what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to diss that person right now.
Maybe you shut up. Makoto, here's the thing, is that I picture Harold Holt having a picture with a koala the way that all politicians have pictures, where he's like shaking hands with a koala.
Yeah, he's not holding it like a normal koala. He's shaking his hand.
He just paused. Now, like, so are you going to pose? He's like, I am posing.
Or he's kissing the baby koala on the head.
And getting rife with chlamydia.
And then it just starts scratching his face. Yeah.
Slapping with both of its penises. Wow. Gosh, that's photographic evidence.
Yeah. And we maybe we see Harold Holt ourselves, or those people who know who Harold Holt is, maybe we see him in places that he isn't because we're looking for him.
True.
Our good friend here, Makoto, he was new to the subject.
Yeah.
He'd only seen the photo once. He saw it that day, and he saw it again right there with the koala. This is pretty hardcore evidence, I think.
I think it's good evidence. We're just going to have to go to the zoo and track it down. Hopefully they haven't gotten rid of all copies.
And it gives us an excuse to go to Australia Zoo, which I'm all about.
Which I've never been to. Thank you, Makoto, and we will see you in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Post haste.
Let's have a beer together. Kampai.
Kampai, indeed. Tim, as we come to the end of our episode, I want to give thanks and praise to our wonderful Patreon patrons.
Good.
We have 4. So take that, Mum and Dad. I got 4 patrons. You said I couldn't do anything.
Did they say that?
No, they didn't.
I can't imagine.
I did have to explain Patreon to them, and I think they got it. Tim.
Yeah.
In order of donations received, in terms of when they came in, not how much.
Yeah.
Elise Carney. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah, do we know her?
Could be Elise Kane.
It seems like it's Elise.
Elise.
Yeah.
Thank you for her donation. It really makes a difference in our lives. Amity Armstrong. Whom we have not mentioned on the show before, but she is one of our keen followers. She likes our stuff all the time. She's in our group. She's great. She's also part of our Still Buffering podcast friends.
Yeah.
And she has a show called The Latecomers. So check that out.
Check
out The Latecomers.
Have a look at it.
They've just hit their 10th episode.
Listen to it.
Yeah, listen to this first and then listen to that.
Get in early, because if it blows up and you're in early,
episode 10,
you can say to people, I just listened to that before it blew up.
I was an early comer to The Latecomers.
Yeah.
James Anderson, I believe is how that one's pronounced.
James, an old friend of the show.
Yes, Jim James from Unabashedly Obsessed. Again, check that out. But I won't mention his co-host because she hasn't given us anything.
Except great friendship.
But Erin King. Did you know that Erin and James, like Erin's maiden name is Anderson as well?
Oh, really?
They're not related.
Yeah.
That they know of. And the most recent one that came in today, hot off the press, was Tim, friend of the show, gloriously taking everything in her stride. Ali, shit my pants chance.
Yes.
Or chance.
And
what a way it was?
It was chance, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a way to thank someone than to repeatedly accuse them of shitting their drawers.
We all do it. And she has a show with her partner, Adam, which is called So That's How It Ends? Question. Everyone, you can join them and get their name on the show and a shout out on the podcast, and a bunch of other amazing rewards, including our awesome episode about the Hammerhead Sharks, where we read the teachings from the Aussie Family Bible. Which
that's our new segment. It's very exciting.
Really enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, it was fun. You should listen to it.
Yeah, and you can only do that if you donate $10 or more a month. www.patreon.com/Yegaday.
Thank you.
All one word.
Love you.
And I didn't mention last time we had goals. Now, a $50 goal means that Tim and I can afford to eat, which is an important goal.
Once a month.
Yeah, $50 a month will do that. But if you get to $100 a month, when we hit $100 a month, we will donate a one-off donation of $100 to trying to save cassowaries.
Yeah.
And if we hit that, I think we might keep trying to donate to some Australian wildlife and the wonderful flora and or fauna.
The $100 that we donate will actually go towards knitting them sweaters for the winter.
They do get cold.
They get very cold up there in the north of Queensland, right near the equator.
Yeah.
So they knit them sweaters. They're very cute. So the more you donate, the nicer the wool we can use.
The nicer the sweater.
Yeah.
Some of the sweaters are shithouse.
Yeah.
So that's good. Tim, I want to give a little plug of my own that next Saturday on the 20th of January at 1 p.m. at the Howler in Brunswick, I will be competing in a raw comedy heat. That will be 5 minutes of uninterrupted, I hope, Leon Huxtable comedy.
Be there.
Or don't be there. But preferably do. It's only $10.
I'd like to give my own little plug. Today I had hot cross buns for the first time this year, and I ate all 6 in the pack within an hour.
How are you not on the toilet already?
Oh, I love them so
much. Did you get Sultana or chocolate ones?
Sultana, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. That's a good plug. Another important plug for it. Very big episode today in terms of important things. And it also leads into our thank you. So thanks as always to T Smirl, Smirly T, Teylor Smirl, and happy birthday, Teylor Smirl.
Happy day that you were born.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
hope you enjoy some cats,
day.
some Sailor Moon, and some drinkings.
Some drinkings.
I'm going to take one from her mother and give her the nickname of Taylor Moon.
Taylor Moon.
Well done, Mary
like
Smirl. Yeah, you're a genius.
What a well said thing.
Thank you. Tim, you got someone to thank?
Curtis Fernance. That's Fern Tree Music on the Books of Faces. Look him up. Get into his stuff. He gives us the introduction, outroduction, and the Harold Holt music, which was on us this episode. I'm not great at speaking today, is what I found. I'm a little bit all over the shop today. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your service. Great. Well, thanks for listening. Find us at G'day Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, www.yagday.com, or yagdaypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and big shout out to Makoto and his well-written letter.
Oh, thanks, Makoto. Share us with your friends, share us with people that you hate, and share us with that kid down the street, Tim.
Who you're indifferent about. Yes.
As always. Yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone. Catch you on the flippity flop.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to auscastnetwork.com for details.